Hello guys. Today I kind of wanted to do something different other than the paranormal series videos that I've been doing. I wanted to do another Halloween video or a Halloween tag. Now this is not the Halloween tag, but this is the 10 Halloween movie favorites tag. Now I made this tag up and I'm going to tag a couple people at the end of this video and I'm going to talk about some nostalgic moments for these videos and the influences they had on me as a person. So, in further ado, here we go. The very first one is Rocky's Horror Picture Show, or the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, this film was a film that I was not really allowed to watch until much older. My parents felt that it was a bit too inappropriate, and it is also rated R, so I wasn't really allowed to watch it till later on. But Tim Curry's character became a very big influence on me as a person. I love all the music. I love all the quotes in the movies, like "Don't dream it, just be it," as well as "Don't judge a book by its cover." This film has been such an influential um, film on my life, and it has inspired me to be the person I am today. It inspired me to do drag, and I even dressed up as Rocky Horror Picture Show Frankenfurter for Halloween at a Halloween party at age 14. So I think I was 14 or 15 when I seen this. I think I was 15. So actually, correcting myself, I think I seen it at 15. But yeah, I was fully appreciating Rocky Horror at that age, and it's just been a very big influence on me. I love all of the songs in it. I can do the time warp, and it's just a very, very important film to watch around this time period. I revisit it as well at other times. Amongst a lot of these films, I also revisit on other times. There are certain ones that I only watch around Halloween, but I'll get to that in a minute. The second one on the list is Repo, the Genetic Opera. Now, this is basically Blade Runner meets Rocky Horror Picture Show. So you can see in comparison that this modern adaptation of this musical about this girl named Shiloh, and she slowly discovers that her dad is the Repo Man, and the Repo Man is basically a man who is collecting organs from people, basically through this market called GeneCo. A lot of people are paying money for their organs and stuff to be taken out of their body or put into their body again, I should say. And once they can't pay it off, the Repo Man comes and takes it away. And basically, the Repo Man's daughter, he's injecting her with a sickness and keeping her away from the world. And because he's afraid of her finding out the truth of himself and the disaster that's going on in the outside world. But she's very, very curious, and a lot of her friends that were involved in her childhood are coming back and knocking on her door to introduce themselves to her because they're finding out about her and really wanting to talk to her about what has been going on for the past years. So it's a very, very good film. It's a rock opera film. It's directed by Darren Bousman, I think his name is, but he directed the same films as Saw. So it's a very, very good film. It's a goth favorite, along with Rocky Horror. Both of them have cult classics that they're classified as, and they have cult followings. So yeah, they're most definitely pretty up there on the Halloween favorites. And last year it was actually on Netflix, but this year I might actually have to order it. But it's most definitely one of my favorites. Number 3, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, The Nightmare Before Christmas was originally produced by Tim Burton, but it was not directed by Tim Burton. It was directed by a man named Henry Selick. And Tim Burton actually wanted to direct the film, and Tim Burton has, as far as said, that a lot of his visions in his head when they were produced into film were never really what he envisioned, and they were completely different in his head than they were in film, which is an obvious standpoint with a lot of producers and a lot of directors as well when it comes to filmmaking. This film has been one of my favorites since I was a kid. I've collected a lot of memorabilia. I even have a tattoo as well of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, a lot of merchandise from The Nightmare Before Christmas constantly, shows up in your local Hot Topic or Spencer's, as well as Walgreens around Halloween time. It's just a very popular marketing kind of character, and Disney actually did not want to do The Nightmare Before Christmas because they felt that it was too dark for Disney. So most definitely, it's another one that I love the music. It creates wonderful Christmas carols for goths around the Christmas time. It's not only a Halloween movie, but it also takes time in Christmas because the Pumpkin King Jack Skellington discovers a world called Christmastown. So it's most definitely one of my favorites, and it has been for a long time, even though it's kind of overrated and I'm kind of over it, but I still really love it. It's really dear to my heart, and obviously I have it tattooed to my skin. So I'm not as over it as I say I am. Another one of my favorites is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now, this is one of my favorite vampire films of all time. Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder are in this film, and I really, really love this film. It was one of the first films that really introduced me to vampires, and really made me fall in love with the whole vampire thing. And ever since then, I've been very vampire obsessed. Even though this film is completely dated and kind of corny, and it's basically a love story with bloodshed, it's most definitely one that you would probably like to watch around this time. It is a very good film. It is spooky, it's kind of corny, it's kind of dated, but I actually do like this version way better than the Bela Lugosi Dracula, and way better than any other Dracula movie. That's probably one of my favorites. So most definitely. And I also really love Lucy, one of the vampire brides in this film, where she actually vomits blood on Van Helsing. So I most definitely love this film to death, quite literally. um, but yeah, it's very dear to my heart as well, and it's a film that really introduced me to vampires. There's also a vampire movie as well from my childhood, earlier on, that I watched, that I'll talk about as a bonus at the end of this list because I'm only really listing 10. Now, this is one that everybody knows, everybody talks about every year, and for goodness sake, you have to like this film to like Halloween at least, and if you don't, you're lame. Now, this film is most definitely a very, very talked about film around this time. It's on Disney, it's on Family Channel, ABC Family Channel, which is now something else, don't remember. I even have it on DVD here, and I've watched it already about 3 times. Very, very favorite amongst a lot of people in America celebrating Halloween. Their 3 favorite witches: Winifred, Mary, and of course Sarah Sanderson. Hocus Pocus has been one of the most influential movies of all time in my childhood, and one of the most nostalgic videos in my childhood. Some of the most happiest memories in my life take place around Halloween. So, even though I kind of had a rocky childhood, Halloween was something that brought me happiness and brought me just excitement and joy, and it was something I looked forward to every year. And I was thinking about Halloween even when it was not in the middle of July. So I always looked forward to watching this film. I was very, very witch obsessed when I was a kid. I dressed up as a witch pretty much every year. My grandma even bought me a witch dress and a witch hat, despite the fact that I'm a boy. So I was very obsessed with witches, and this movie was most definitely something that really, really excited me. I love the music. I love it. Put a spell on you. It was the very first film that actually introduced me to Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker, because I didn't know she was in Sex and the City. And Mary, I don't really know much about, but I do love this film a lot. I love them. I love Billy the Zombie. I love Zachary Binks, which is a little black cat. I love everything about this film. It's just an amazing, beautiful film, and you really have to appreciate it, because if you haven't seen it from your teenage years or childhood, it's probably not as much of a nostalgic moment for you people that are watching it now. But people that were growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, this was definitely a movie that was starting to get Halloween recognized. Because Halloween was always a thing, but Halloween itself was just kind of like that holiday that was always there. But this film kind of made it a lot more, even though there were haunted attractions and things like that that were making Halloween a lot more bigger. Halloween was becoming a lot more bigger at this point, especially with this film when it hit theaters. So most definitely, this is a number one favorite to watch around Halloween. I can watch this film 100 times and I could babble on about it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But I'm just gonna get to the next. Now, of course, I love Nightmare on Elm Street. This is one of my favorite horror films to watch of all time. I love Freddy Krueger, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. this is one with Eddie Murphy, and it is called The Haunted Mansion. And I love watching this movie. I love Eddie Murphy, and I think he's hilarious. And also, um, I love riding the ride at Disney World as well. And it's an amazing film, and it's really funny, and it's a fun time. Um, Night of the Demons is another one that's my favorite. I love the original 80s, and I love the 2000s adaptation. But it's most definitely a good film as well, and it's a fun time. And I also really love Trick or Treat. Now, Trick or Treat is based off a comic book, and it was just directed into a horror film. And my favorite character is Sammy, the little trick or treater. And it's basically based on if you do not participate in the Halloween traditions, trick or treaters that are dead, that died from school bus crash, will come and kill you. And for a bonus, talking about the very first introduction to vampires that really made me fall in love with vampires is Little Vampire. This has concluded my 10 Halloween favorites for movies. And I'm going to tag Kyla Carrion, I'm going to tag Skullgirdle, and I'm going to tag Acumortis. So thank you guys for watching, and have a happy and safe Halloween. I look forward to seeing you in other videos as well. Thank you, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.